DC Deck Builder by Cryptozoic Games is a DC deck building themed game that is, well, it's a deck builder. It's basically a deck builder. When I describe this game to my friends, I describe it as basically boil down everything that is good or important about deck building and put it into a game, and that is this game, and then just slap a superhero theme on it, and that is this game in its entirety. That is what's happening here. Some days you just need to lay back and enjoy the world. So, because DC Deck Builder is just, well, a deck builder tacked on with some DC superheroes, I should probably go the right way. That's all I really need to say about the theme. It's DC thrown on top of a deck builder. That's a horrible noise. That's a horrible. So, because we can say that DC Deck Builder is using Cryptozoic's deck building formula, we can say that they did good. This is a good deck building game with some superheroes thrown on top. In the original version of DC Deck Builder, oh god, you have your basic DC heroes. So you have Batman, you have Superman, you have the Flash, you have Wonder Woman, you have Green Lantern, and then you're fighting some standard run-of-the-mill villains like the Joker and Bomberman. At the start of the game, every player gets a basic superhero, and that superhero will give them a unique ability during the game. For example, Wonder Woman gets a bonus whenever she plays villains, because in this game, in addition to buying more equipment or powers, you can defeat villains that go into your deck. Comparatively, the Flash's power is he gets to always go first, so because he's the Flash, and that makes sense. So maybe I should talk a little bit about the game and how you play the game now that I've talked a little bit about the theme. What happens in the game is, well, it's a deck builder, and it's a very similar deck builder to, I would say, Ascension. If you've ever watched my Ascension review, which I'll link someplace, maybe my face, you'll know that Ascension is a deck building game where in the game you can defeat monsters or gain items that help you defeat the monsters later on, or gain money. In this game, there's no difference between money and power to defeat monsters. Instead, on every turn you're trying to collect a common currency called power. So, superhero power, power of being a superhero, something power. So you use that power to defeat villains, and you use that power to buy items. There's only one central market, and it's called the lineup, and that lineup has 5 cards in it. The lineup is replenished at the end of every player's turn, so you can't just sit there and, defeat villains all the time. And you can buy or defeat as many villains or buy as many items as you can afford every turn. At the end of the game, you get victory points from the cards in your deck, and every item or villain that you defeat has a little star in the corner that tells you how many points you'll get at the end of the game. Villains give you more, and super villains give you the most. You can't find super villains in the lineup though. Super villains are special villains that are put to the side, and the game ends when all the super villains are revealed. Every game starts with the same super villain, and then after you defeat him, a new one is revealed. Whenever a super villain is revealed, he has a bad power that is an attack that happens to everyone. Super villains have attacks, but other villains have attacks too. So when you defeat a villain normally and you put them in your deck, when you play the villain at another time, a super villain or normal villain, their attack affects your opponents, which is interesting because you're all supposed to be on the same team anyway. Aside from that little theme glitch where you're a superhero using villains to attack your other superhero friends, the game plays rather smoothly, and it has to have that little theme glitch to work as well as it does. Of course, if there's attacks, there must be defenses. Defense cards would work exactly like you would think defense cards should work. So if you have a defense card in your hand, when somebody plays an attack, whether it be the super villain or your opponent playing a villain card, you can play it to stop that attack. Defense cards played to stop an attack against you usually get discarded, so you're at disadvantage the next turn anyway, sometimes. Cryptozoic has recently released a standalone expansion to DC Deck Builder, which adds more heroes, some powers, and some complexity. The base DC Deck Builder game I would compare to the base Ascension game. It's pretty straightforward. It is the essence of deck building boiled down into most simple deck building game you can imagine. And Heroes Unite makes it another step up. The new standalone expansion just adds, well, more stuff, which is great, and you can combine it with the base game, which again is great. I like both of these games. That being said, because it is just the bare essence of deck building games boiled down into a very seamless deck building game with a theme strapped on top of it, it could get a little, well, repetitive, and sometimes you could feel you're just going in circles. I'm okay with this though, because I really like deck building. I really like the concept of it, and I really like Dominion. But Dominion's setup time kind of just is a turnoff. Ascension is slightly better, but it also has gemstones, and there's just a ton of expansions, and I don't know, it feels a little convoluted and stuffed and just unnecessary large. DC Deck Builder is simple and fun, and I really like DC comic heroes. That would be security on their way probably to ask me what the hell I'm doing. So yeah, DC Deck Builder. Pretty straightforward, very clean, simple deck building game. No nonsense. You can pick up a copy of DC Deck Builder at your local game store, or DC Deck Builder Heroes Unite at your local game store, or on Amazon, which I've linked down below. If you like my videos, feel free to give me a thumbs up, feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see more, and as always, what have you been playing lately? I feel like I'm going in circles. Does this go anywhere?